Welcome to the Coach Barnabas podcast. It's time to take a few minutes and leave behind the stuff that drains us and recharge our batteries with some encouragement and insight. Finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Hi, welcome back to Coach Barnabas, episode number 6. And thank you, Nigel, my disembodied British voice of sophistication. Great to have you. But thanks for joining us. Welcome back. This particular episode, I think, is going to be a little bit shorter. I've been rambling on a little bit in my previous ones. This one, I think, is going to be a little bit shorter. But this is something where, as you get to know me a little bit, I'm one who, as my little outro says later on, is I like to find extraordinary things in ordinary things. Find life lessons in everyday things that we may see. And this is kind of an example of that. And this is from a TV show. Some years ago, I got into watching like some cooking shows, which if you know me, and my wife is probably listening to this and wondering where did all this go? But I used to love to watch cooking shows. But I also like to watch other things. I can't cook to save my life. I would mess up macaroni and cheese. I do pretty well with the ramen. Okay, that comes in a little cup of noodle kind of thing, and you put it in hot water, and I can do that pretty well. Bacon and eggs, not bad. I could do that all right. But beyond that, my repertoire is pretty limited. Were it not for things like an air fryer, which you could just season a slab of meat, throw it in there, and flip it over and kind of eyeball it. You know, anybody could probably do that. But I would watch cooking shows on the old Food Network and things like that. And here you see people who know what they're doing, and they could make amazing things. And I just like kind of watching creativity. I like seeing people who are great at what they do. And that's just one example of something. But I used to watch a show, I don't even know if it's still on the air, but called Chopped. And if you've watched the Food Network, maybe you're familiar with it. But basically, it is professional chefs from around the country. They have their own restaurants. And they go on the show and they compete against each other in front of a panel of like famous professional chefs who may have their own TV shows and that sort of thing. And these competitors would, there'd be, I think, 3 different rounds. There's like an appetizer, entree, and then dessert. And then in each round, somebody would be eliminated. They were the weakest performer in this particular round, whether it was the appetizer, the entree, and then the dessert, I think, was the final, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. But they would be given a basket of seemingly random ingredients that they'd incorporate into whatever meal they were preparing or whatever portion of the meal they were preparing. So, for instance, like for the dessert, they'd be handed a basket, and this was usually the final round, and there would be ingredients in there that to me, it's like most of them were things I'd never heard of. I couldn't pronounce. I couldn't tell you what they would taste like, so maybe it was something like a literal like ginger root or something like that. They'd pull it out of the basket. I'd never seen one before, and they'd pull it out of the basket, and it looked horrible. Didn't look anything like food. But apparently it's food. It's edible. And maybe some sort of chocolate that's rare and indigenous to somewhere in South America, not just like go down to the store and get a big bar of Hershey's or whatever. And then maybe some fruit that was rare, again, impossible to pronounce and found somewhere in the Himalayas. I don't know. And then gummy bears, right? It was just like, what? And somehow they had to tie these ingredients together to create this really wonderful dessert and to impress the judges, the panel of judges, and hopefully win tens of thousands of dollars at the end or whatever it was. And I was, for whatever reason, this popped in my head not too long ago, and I was thinking about our lives. And each of us basically are a blend of unique ingredients, from talents to, and our innate abilities and our experiences, maybe where we were raised or how we were raised. And there are certain things that are just innate in us, and other things, well, nature versus nurture. There's the nature part of us that you're just wired a particular way, and then the nature or the nurture part of us, which is takes into consideration our environment that we were raised in, good or bad, the influences around us. It could be where you were raised, by whom you were raised, and your influences, the friendships you cultivated through your life, the people who influenced you. You could be a sports nut. You could be into ballet. You could be, a musical type. You may be into fixing cars. You may be a lot of those things or none of them. But we all have our particular set of preferences and desires and talents and all this other stuff. And I was thinking about this, like, this box of ingredients, this basket of ingredients that seemingly seems random. And in the hands of somebody like me, where you give them a basket of ingredients that can be put together in proper portions and proper forms and make something that's a delicacy, that makes something that is beautiful and it looks appetizing and it tastes wonderful. Or you give it to somebody like me who will probably kill you with everything that's in that basket if you were to ingest it. It's like, it all comes down to, we have this unique set of ingredients that make up who we are, and left to somebody like myself, okay, my own set of ingredients, left to my own design, and I'm sure to mess it up, okay? And we've all made mistakes. We all have things in our lives that we regret. And I think of that a lot of times when I've taken control of my own life and done things my way. I've generally made a mess out of things and just watch it all blow up. But for my life, where I have found complete peace and any kind of what you might define as success or achievement in my life, is when I've basically handed over the ingredients of what make up my life and make me who I am, and just turn that over to God and say, you know, do with this basket of ingredients what you want to do with it, because you're the only one I really trust to make something meaningful out of it, something that would be pleasing to other people, that would bring me a sense of accomplishment or satisfaction, and ultimately to please Him. All right. And that's kind of just where I kind of want to go with this. Again, I didn't expect this to take very long, but I just want to speak that out to you. And I don't know who you are, where you are, or what you're going through, but maybe you're in a position where you feel like you've taken this basket of ingredients that make up your life and you've tried to make it into something that you were never designed to be, or you really don't know what it is you're fit to do or what you love doing, or maybe you love doing something, you don't know how to make it happen. I just really encourage you to take the ingredients that make you who you are and just lay it all out on the table and say, God, you're the master chef. And you can take something of all this stuff that doesn't even make sense to me, and make something wonderful out of it that is pleasing to others and myself and ultimately to you. So that's my encouragement for you today. I hope that this message falls on the ears of people who can take some encouragement from that and say, yeah, I need to do that. I've been trying to do this my own way, and I've just basically burned it to a crisp. And that's not useful or at all positive, or certainly not what it could be. It's not reaching its potential because I'm trying to do this my way. So that's my message for you. I thank you again for joining us. And as these things go, I never like to be that guy, but as these things go, I ask you to like and subscribe and set up notifications. I put these out somewhat randomly, so I don't have a set schedule. If you're thinking, oh, he puts one out every Wednesday, it's not always going to be that way. It may not even be every week. It might be 2 or 3 a week. It really comes down to availability and inspiration. Whenever something pops in my head, there are times where I can't wait to find a way to make it happen, and then there are other times where it's just like, nothing's coming. I'm not going to force it. But so if you like it and set up notifications, you'll be notified when a new episode's available. So I ask you to do that. But as always, I just want to remind you to be encouraged and be an encouragement. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.
Thank you for joining the Coach Barnabas podcast. We'd greatly appreciate your support by liking and subscribing to the podcast and setting up notifications so we can let you know when new episodes are available. We'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment. Make a difference today.